Hey, what's going on with everybody, man? My name's Riley. If it's your first time seeing my face here on YouTube, go subscribe to my channel and leave a like on this video. On today's clip, we're going to be reacting to the death of Gene Hackman and his wife. They were just found dead inside their home earlier this week. Today, we're going to be reacting to all the footage and all the news we know about the case so far and see maybe if they're kind of pointing their fingers at the cause of death or what's really going on. So without further ado, let's go and hop right in. Let's go.
Noted no external trauma to either individual. The manner and cause of death has not been determined. The official results of the autopsy and toxicology reports are pending.
The mystery continues. Breaking updates Friday night in the death investigation of acting legend Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and their dog. No traces of carbon monoxide poisoning, no signs of trauma, and no cause of death yet. We're breaking news on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. When the sheriff in Santa Fe, New Mexico announced on a Friday that they would be holding a news conference at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, to give an update on the death investigation into acting legend Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog, many people wondered if we were going to get answers to the questions about how they died. We didn't get those answers tonight, but we did learn some new information as investigators continue to piece together the timeline of what happened. Here are the three big things that we took away from the sheriff as they continue to investigate deaths that they have called unusual and suspicious. First, we still don't know what the cause of death is. The sheriff says the pathologist shared some preliminary findings, but they're still waiting on autopsy and toxicology reports to come back, and it's unclear how long that could take. The sheriff says in some cases, it takes months. The second key piece of information is regarding Hackman's pacemaker. The sheriff confirmed the 95-year-old's pacemaker registered its last event on February 17th. That is roughly a week and a half before the couple was found on Wednesday this week. Documents from law enforcement that we reviewed talked about how Hackman and Arakawa's bodies were showing signs of decomposition and that Arakawa's hands and feet showed signs of mummification, meaning they had been dead for some time. The sheriff confirmed it's safe to say Hackman's last day of life was on that Monday, which was President's Day. As for the third key update here, and this is a big one, the sheriff says we can now rule out carbon monoxide as a cause of death. Preliminary testing showed that Hackman, Arakawa, and the dog tested negative for CO poisoning. This was confirmed by the medical examiner's office. Also, firefighters and the gas company tested the property and found no signs of a leak this week. Questions still remain about pills discovered at the scene. They were found scattered on the ground near Arakawa's body in the bathroom, but the sheriff refused to go into details about that tonight, citing HIPAA laws. Here's what he said today at the podium.
On Wednesday, February 26, 2025, at approximately 1:45 p.m., Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to 1425 Old Sunset Trail, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife Betsy Arakawa, 65, and a dog were found deceased. An individual arrived to perform maintenance on the residence, became concerned after receiving no answer, and contacted neighborhood security to conduct a welfare check. Security then checked on the residence and observed Mr. Hackman and Miss Arakawa on the ground unresponsive through a window and called 911. Deputies arrived and gained access to the residence where they observed Mrs. Arakawa deceased. They continued the search of their home and located Mr. Hackman in a separate area of the residence, also deceased. A German Shepherd was also found deceased, and two other dogs who appeared healthy were located on the property. Deputies then secured the scene and notified the Criminal Investigations Division. Due to the unusual circumstances of two decedents in the residence, there was a concern for scene safety. Santa Fe City Fire personnel and the New Mexico Gas Company were requested to the scene to test for carbon monoxide or other foreign elements. The scene was deemed safe, and approximately 9:30 p.m., a search warrant was issued and executed on the residence. Now, collected from the residence, from this search warrant, there were 2 green in color cell phones, 2 bottles of medication, 1 bottle of over-the-counter Tylenol, my request medical records, and a 2025 monthly calendar. Those items were secured from the residents for evidentiary purposes. The Santa Fe Animal Control Division worked with family to ensure the safety of the 2 surviving dogs. Investigation personnel worked diligently throughout the night and morning to process the scene for evidence. It should be noted there were no apparent signs of foul play. In the early hours of Thursday, February 27, 2025, Mr. Hackman and Ms. Arakawa were transported to the office of the medical investigator. An autopsy was performed. Initial findings noted no external trauma to either individual. The manner and cause of death has not been determined. The official results of the autopsy and toxicology reports are pending. Just today, I spoke to Dr. Jarrell, the pathologist from the New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator. This was at 2:00 p.m. today. She advised that there were several tests that were submitted to be expedited. She revealed to me the following information. Both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide. An initial interrogation was conducted of Mr. Hackman's pacemaker. This revealed that his last event was recorded on February 17th, 2025. I was advised that a more thorough investigation will be completed. That'll conclude my statement. I will take a few questions, and just so everybody knows, this is an active investigation still. I'll take questions.
Sure. Based on what you know about the conditions of both the bodies, who do you believe died first?
That's a very hard thing to determine. Even with the assistance of OMI, we asked that question because that's a question that we want answered. That's a very hard determination to make, and I don't think even OMI could make that determination based on the initial autopsy. Any other questions?
Mr. Sheriff, in that 2025 planner that was mentioned in the search warrant return, were there events scheduled for either member of the couple for the coming weeks?
Again, that'll be part of our investigation. We will look and try to gain access to the cell phones. We'll be analyzing cell phone data, phone calls, text messages, events, photos in the cell phone to try to piece a timeline together. One of the things is in an investigation is we try to piece a timeline together, usually before the event happens, and that gives us a lot of information. But in this case, it seems like we're doing a reverse timeline. We're doing a timeline from the time of death and the autopsy and the results, and we're going to start working our way backwards. We're going to do both, and then hopefully make a determination what may have happened to both the individuals.
Sasha.
When you were saying the last event on the pacemaker was February 17th, would that kind of give you a sign that's probably the day that he died, so they've been dead for about 10 days?
According to the pathologist, I think that is a very good assumption that was his last day of life.
Is there any surveillance video?
Why are the pills such important evidence?
I'm sorry?
The pills.
Okay.
The finding of the pills being such important evidence, and could that have been part of the cause of death?
Well, of course, they're important evidence. These are things that I think are important for the pathologist and OMI to consider to try to make a determination what the cause and manner of death are. So all that information is collected, not just for us, but we can provide that information to the pathologist and OMI so they can try and make a determination of what the manner and cause is. And I think that's important for OMI also.
Sheriff, was there any surveillance video, and is that helping you to determine what may have led up to this?
That's a good question, and that question's been asked. So, I respect the Mr. Hackman's and Ms. Arakawa's regard for privacy. I think everybody here understands that they were very private individuals and a very private family. There is no surveillance, as we know of right now, in the interior of the residence or the exterior of the residence.
Damn,
that's
that's
going to help us
crazy.
determine a timeline or events that happened.
Do you think she was outside?
What?
Sir?
Tom Hansen with CBS News. Have investigators been able to get into the obtained cell phones?
Not at this time. We have them in our possession. Those were collected yesterday. It's going to take a process. We do have software, and we may have to reach out to other agencies for assistance to get past, if they're password protected, to get past the passwords and gain access to that information. So this is some other things that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Sheriff, is there any information on the dog? There are names, Nikhil McClellan from the Albuquerque Journal, there are names on prescription bottles. Do we know any idea as to who was taking any of those medications?
Yeah, due to HIPAA, I don't want to release who the medication was prescribed to or what the medication is. I think that's I think there's a HIPAA concern there, so I won't release that information.
Sheriff, do you know the nature of the pills that were found by Mark's wife? What were those pills there?
What were they? Yeah, I think I just answered that question. I think I stated I'm not going to release the actual medication or who it was prescribed to due to HIPAA questions. Sir.
Does that rule out carbon monoxide, or is it possible it kind of dissipated from the body and you just weren't able to find signs of it?
You know, I think that's a question for the pathologist. It's with that information, I'm assuming that at the time of death that they were negative for carbon monoxide, which means to me that that is possibly ruled out. That's another conversation I think that we will have with the pathologist and OMI to make sure that that's still not indication, but it sounds like that's ruled out.
Were there any signs that Betsy was under any form of distress?
I don't have that information. Again, I didn't personally see you know, the individuals, so there's no indication that there was any stress. There was no indication of any of that I can tell or that I can share, unfortunately.
Has foul play been ruled out?
Hold on. Anybody else? I know you've asked a question.
Sheriff, was there any significance to the space heater being located near her head, that detail, and any more information about how the dogs died?
No, I don't think the space, you know, now that we've ruled out carbon monoxide, unless there's something else that comes back in the toxicology report, that we have to look, we're gonna look at everything, right? We have photographs, we've documented everything that was close to the body in the room, then we'll look at that a little closer, but right now there's no indication that has anything to do with it.
Sure. Were you able to determine whether they fell or not? Like, was there any trauma evidence on the bodies to suggest a fall?
No, I don't think you know, there was any indication that again, there was no trauma indicated on the body. I'm assuming if they would have fell or you know, injured themselves or a head injury or brain injury, that would have been discovered by the pathologist. So I'm going to say that they weren't.
Just to follow up, that you saw the sunglasses and the cane on the floor, according to the reports, that would seem to go against that.
You know, that's up to the detective and OMI to work out.
Sure, can you say?
I'm gonna take two more questions, and then that's gonna be it, sir.
Can you say what the space heater was powered by? Was it a gas powered or electric powered space heater?
I don't know that information right off the top.
On the timeline,
Sir.
How long do you think we'll have more concrete answers of what happened?
Again, we're waiting for the autopsy results and the toxicology. The doctor, the pathologist shared that information, which I think some tests were expedited. And so she shared that information with me because she thought it was relevant to the case and important for the public to know. I don't know. I don't know when the cause and the manner will be determined officially, or when the toxicology results come. I'm assuming the pathologist will wait for the toxicology to come back, so that'll help her make her decision on what the cause and manner is. But it could be months or 3 months or longer, in my experience.
When is the last
One more question.
When is the last known contact with either Betsy or Jean?
Again, that's been one of our challenges because of their privacy. So one of the challenges is trying to determine that timeline. I think the event of the pacemaker gives us an idea, but we're gonna sift through the cell phone records. We're gonna go through the planner. We're contacting workers, maintenance workers, family members, security. We're gonna be talking to security. It's a secure subdivision. There's in and out that I believe is documented. So we're working with them to try and determine when the last contact was, and that'll help us put together the timeline. So thank you, everybody. I hope this answered some questions. And again, if we get more information, we will release that. I know there is concern and interest in Mr. Hackman and Mrs. Arakawa. And I just appreciate your patience. Thank you.
So we did get some new clues tonight, but still, overall, a lot of questions remain in this case. The other concrete clues that we have, many of them came from a search warrant that dropped this morning. It says when deputies arrived, they saw Arakawa's body was in the process of decomposing, and there were signs of mummification in her hands and feet. 6 things of interest were collected from the Santa Fe home: 2 green cellular devices, thyroid medication, dilitazem medication, which by the way is a calcium channel blocker that typically treats high blood pressure, Tylenol, MyQuest records, and a 2025 monthly planner. Again, the sheriff tonight wouldn't go into details as far as whose name was on the prescription bottle, citing HIPAA laws, but we do know that is the medication that was in the home. The search warrant also breaks down the specific details on the timeline of this investigation. We know at 1:43 in the afternoon on February 26, that was Wednesday, a 911 call was placed. 2 deputies were dispatched to Hackman's house. The deputies spoke with 2 people on scene. One, a maintenance worker, the other, a caretaker who called 911. One of the deputies approached the front door and found it slightly open. He noted in the search warrant that he didn't find any signs of forced entry. Police have said that there have been no signs of foul play. When he went inside, he found the bathroom door, which was close to the entrance to the home, wide open. And that is when he found Hackman's wife lying on her right side on the ground. A black space heater was found near her head, and the deputy believed that the heater could have fallen in the event the female abruptly fell to the ground. The deputy also noticed an orange prescription bottle on the counter and pills scattered on the countertop. This is where the deputy also spotted the mummification of Hackman's wife's hands and feet. The deputy inside the home kept searching, later finding a dead German Shepherd, one of their family dogs, that dog about 10 to 15 feet from Hackman's wife, in a closet in the bathroom. The 95-year-old Hackman was found shortly after in a mudroom with his slippers on and a walking cane by his side. And according to the deputy, he felt like, based on his training, that Hackman had suddenly fallen. 2 other healthy dogs were found on the property, one inside and one outside. Also from this search warrant, we know that the remainder of the property was locked and secure. There were no signs that the home had been rummaged through, and nothing appeared to be out of place. Investigators also noted that the fire department did not locate any signs of carbon monoxide leaks or poisoning, and the sheriff again ruling that possibility out tonight. The gas company responded to the home. They did testing. They didn't find any sign of a leak. The search warrant wrapped up by stating the cause of Hackman and his wife's deaths are unknown, and the sheriff confirmed that that is still the case Friday night. The sheriff's office has said there have been no signs of foul play.
All right, y'all, that's gonna wrap this one up right here. Very, very confusing case, because obviously they say there's no foul entry, there's no gas leak, CO2. So the only thing that's kind of, I feel like could be the only option is the medication they found. Maybe they overdosed. The woman obviously seemed like maybe since she was mummifying, you know, I mean, she's been sitting there maybe for a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe she passed on. The guy was just too upset with himself. He then overdosed himself. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the dog just, either they did some foul play to the dog, or maybe the dog just went days without food and water, and maybe it just passed away like that, which would be terrible. They said they found him 10 or 15 feet away from the wife, sitting in a closet. So that's pretty sad. But I want to know what y'all's thoughts and comments on this video are, because I'm about as confused as these damn investigators right now. What do you think happened to Gene Hackman? And do you think this was an accident? Do you think this was suicide? Or do you think this was murder? I want to know what y'all's thoughts are down below. I'll be answering every single comment left on the video, so make sure you go down there and say something. I do want to say I appreciate y'all watching to the end of this video. If you have, you're a real one. We're going to keep bumping out these videos for y'all. If you're interested in this type of content, I'm going to have a playlist linked right here in the end of the video. It's going to have all the reactions on there for y'all to check out. So mean a world to me if y'all just go out there and check out some of the previous videos here on the channel. And other than that, we're just going to wrap this one up right here. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day. Once again, I appreciate y'all watching. Let me go ahead and see you on the next one. Peace.